What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and this one I'm gonna break down what's going on with Tesla stock, what you should be watching for going forward. I'm going to talk about a very important level on Tesla and also what's happening to SPY and the QQQ, what's going on with the news affecting the markets, and what Bostic from the Fed just said that's very important for the economy. But before I break anything down about all this information, before I say anything about Tesla stock, I do have to mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit any amount of money to the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. Anyways, looking at SPY, this thing has turned very, very choppy, very, very sideways, at least as of right now. And the real question is, how is the market going to move? If you look at Tesla, it came down pretty hard as well. Got a very nice pump in the morning, like I was thinking, before getting a very big dump. It went up to about 277.5. My prediction was around 278 is where it would pump to, then get a big rejection after that. And it got this pump, then dump after that, and Tesla ended up coming all the way down to about this 267 area. Tried to bounce just a little bit, but continued to look very, very bearish as it continued to decline down to 265. And after hitting the support at 265, Tesla started to just base quite a bit, but the real question is, will it end up breaking below that level? And the thing about Tesla is this: if you look at the levels I have on it, I have a bunch of them because Tesla has quite a bit of volatility and some more, or many of these like really important levels. So for Tesla, you're basically watching these levels very carefully because when you zoom out and look back at the chart right about here, you will notice that Tesla has this big gap right here and hasn't fully filled the gap just yet. Now, this could be very concerning for some investors, which could be implying more potential downside, and this area is acting as a magnet to attract Tesla to these lows. However, we need confirmation of that break because sometimes gaps don't get fully filled initially or in the beginning. So, what I'd be watching for is, how does Tesla move from here? The news that came out for Tesla so far has been quite bullish. The majority of the news, if you look at the Chinese numbers that came out, they're looking quite nice. And then the news involving more price upgrades for Tesla. But from a technical standpoint, looking at the technicals, it was due for a slight pullback looking at the bearish divergence. And you also have to consider the changes in volume. The volume was slowing down on Tesla last week. And then we got more bearish signals at the end of the week last week. And then we had more shorting going on, more short volume, and more of the dark pull volume for Tesla. The off-late exchange volume ended up going up as well. So all these things were pointing in the direction of Tesla cooling off, and we got that cool off so far. So here's the point I'm trying to make. I don't know if this is fully done just yet. It could drop more, or it could just try to this could be the bottom. But just to be safe, watch this 265 level as our major level. So this zone right here, this is a trend line, the trend line right here. Watch this very, very carefully. If Tesla ends up breaking down and comes down to this 265 level, if it breaks below 265, it's going to fill the gap and come all the way down to the 262s. All right. But if Tesla ends up not coming down there again, it just tries to hold above these levels and just starts trading sideways, there is a chance this could be the bottom for now, at least as of right now. And then Tesla could try to just trade sideways for the time being. All right. So just watch that very carefully. This is a very, very critical level, and we're going to likely test this again very soon. Now, on top of this, if Tesla does bounce, you're going to be watching resistance around this 270 area. And if that breaks, watch 271.5, 272, 273.84, which is where the resistance levels are and the 15-200 EMAs. And above that, watch 275, then 277.68, and then 280. So these are all some resistance levels on Tesla now. It is looking quite weak, so it looks to me like it's just going to trade sideways for the majority of the day, not really do too much. And part of that is because of what's happening on Tuesday. So for today, we basically had some data that came out for the consumer inflationary expectations. This was a little bit lower than expected, but very close to what the expectations were nonetheless. And it wasn't really that bad or didn't really cause that much volatility. The market started sinking when Bostic was speaking, and then after that, the market just ended up rebounding and still trading very sideways. I'm going to break down what Bostic said in just a few minutes, but let me just note that for Tuesday, tomorrow morning before the market opens, Bullard from the Fed is going to be speaking. Remember that guy Bullard? He's one of the most hawkish Fed speakers. He tends to cause the market to slow down. So there's an increased probability of the market slowing down during the pre-market because of Bullard. And then after that, we have an economic optimism report that's coming out and nothing else. after that. Everything else is just insignificant because Tuesday is likely going to be a slow day. I'm not expecting too much volatility tomorrow because it's going to be the last full day until CPI comes out on Wednesday. CPI is going to be huge, and we're going to see a very big move depending on what we get from it, in my opinion, just by looking at the technicals. So I just want to let you guys know that tomorrow may be a slow day, but we have Bullard speaking in the morning. Now, to add on to this, I just wanted to mention that we had Bostic speaking, and this guy ended up changing his entire mentality. He said inflation is too hot, which is correct, and it's not sustainable. He also mentioned that the pandemic economy is still present in the USA. There's strength due to the pandemic support. Inflation is too hot, it's not sustainable. And right now, inflation is not necessarily happening because of excessive risk, because of the pandemic response. He mentioned that right now, inflation is heading in the right direction as it is cooling off a bit, but there's still a lot of work to be done, and the Fed has to remain restrictive. He also mentioned that the Fed should wait before continuing to raise rates, but there are more rate hikes on the table, and it's still very possible for them to still do this because, once again, the job sector is too strong. So I do agree with some of the points that this guy made. He used to be very hawkish before, right? He used to be very hawkish, and he turned dovish the last time he spoke. And then he spoke again today, and this guy was being in the middle, maybe a little bit more hawkish based on what he was saying. So it's just worth noting. That's the latest thing we got from the Fed. Now, when it comes to the market, we're trading kind of sideways. We're trying to rebound just a little bit on Tesla, but we're just going to be watching these levels very carefully. I'm not expecting way too much for the last hour of the day. I mean, it's just trading kind of sideways. Not way too much is going on. And just remember, tomorrow is going to be likely a slower day because of the fact that it's going to be the last day before CPI. So just be ready for that and be prepared. Now, for SPY, we're testing these resistance levels around this, basically the 439 to 440 level. The 50 EMA is currently one of the resistances, which we just broke. Now we're watching the 200 around this 439.58 level. So it's once again very sideways, not really doing too much. It could get close to like 440 if it breaks above that, but for now, it's just looking very slow. We lack of volume right now. There's not a whole lot of volume in the market right now. It's just slowing down. And if it breaks down, watch 439 as support, and then below that we have 438. Below that comes 437.5. So I'm expecting lots of sideways price action, not a whole lot to go on. And last but not least, for the triple Q, the same thing happened. So my target on the triple Q in the morning was about 368, maybe a retest of 368, then a big rejection after that. And for this thing to sink down to like 365, and if that fails, it's maybe 363.5. And then that's very close to what happened, right? We got this nice pump, but we failed to get to about 368. We came a little bit short of it. We ended up going to about 367.2 instead. We were off by 80 cents. Then this thing ended up rejecting. But look at the levels on this thing, right? It came down below 365, 364.69 as well. And it tested 363.41 before bouncing. That is very close to 363.5, my support right here. Very, very close to previous levels, and it came right back up. It's currently testing the 50 EMA, which is around 366.37. Then we have the 200 around 366.86. So between 366 to 367, lots of resistance. We'll see how the triple Q does. If it manages to break these, it could get closer to about 368, but I'm not really counting on that because it's lacking a lot of volume. There's not much volume right now, so just be very careful. I'm anticipating lots of sideways price action just to end the day, and not really the best of trends. Just very, very sideways, slow price action, and that's what we're seeing so far. All right, guys. So as the market is trying to rebound a little bit, it might slowly try to push up, but I'm not expecting it to be too crazy, like a big $1, $2, $3 move in a short period of time or anything like that. So that's all I'm seeing. And until then, just watch these levels very carefully. Tesla's trying to make its way back up to 270, so watch that. Let's see if Tesla can try to break this. But for now, watch the levels, remain calm, cool, and collected, and just be well aware that Bullard is going to be speaking tomorrow morning. He could slow the market down. And after that, CPI is coming soon. That's going to cause a big move. All right, have a good day, everyone. Watch the levels. Tesla to the moon is long term is very bright. And peace out.